Hi, my name's Emma and I'm a huge book nerd.
You're my library, always open for business, but you never show it. You're just sitting with it, but I know the score, and you're killing it.
Today I just want to share with you some of the book purchases that I've made recently. I don't buy books very often, but when I do, it's either because I find them really cheap or because they're books that I know I will love and I'm really excited to read them. So I will just get right into it and I'll tell you where I got them as I go. Lately I've been on a huge Stephen King kick. I read The Shining back in April, maybe even before that, March or April, and I absolutely loved it and was very disappointed in the movie, but that's another video. We can do a breakdown, we can rant about it, it's fine. Then I also read Cujo and Misery and Christine, and recently I finished It. I've been obsessed with Stephen King and it's kind of become my mission to finish reading maybe not all of his books because there are a lot, but all his really famous ones. So after that long-winded explanation, the first book that I recently bought is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. And I have heard that this book is absolutely terrifying, and I found it at Goodwill for 50 cents, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like this, and if not, then I can give it to a friend or a family member or something later on. I have not gotten around to this yet, I haven't read it yet, but I've heard really good things. If you've read this and you want me to read this next, because it's really good, then let me know down in the comments. The back even says, the most frightening book Stephen King has ever written. I also got this book from Goodwill for 50 cents, The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. Basically, I got this because I really like having pale book covers. I think they're really pretty. I would love to have a bunch of white spined books lined up there. So I got this because I like the cover, and also this has been on my list of books to read. I don't actually really know a lot about this book. I think it's about a grumpy old man who gets a letter from someone from his past, and I think that person that he gets a letter from might be dying or something. It causes him to travel to go see her or something like that. I don't know. If you've read this and you liked it, let me know down in the comments as well. The next book I also picked up from Goodwill. This is Going After Seattle by Tim O'Brien. I think that's how you pronounce it. Or maybe not. Casciato? I don't know. But Tim O'Brien is one of my favorite authors. I absolutely love The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. It used to be my all-time favorite book, might have been bumped, but I still really love that book. So when I found this at Goodwill for 50 cents, I had to pick it up. And again, with the white spine, I really like that. I think it'll look pretty. I haven't gotten around to this one yet, but I think I'm gonna like it. Next up is another Tim O'Brien. This is In the Lake of the Woods, and again, I found this at Goodwill for 50 cents, and I have actually read this one. I read it a couple weeks ago. I do really like it. I don't like it as much as The Things They Carried, but Tim O'Brien has a really interesting way of storytelling. He kind of plays with what's fact and what's fiction and what does truth really mean, and I think that's so cool, and I kind of assumed that that was only present in The Things They Carried, but that's also really prevalent in this book as well, so I'm really curious to see if that's true of his other books. The next few books I picked up were all from Book Outlet, which if you don't know what Book Outlet is and you're watching this video, it's a really amazing discount book website where you can get a lot of books shipped to you, and they're really inexpensive. I don't know why I'm blabbering so much about it, but first book I got from there is American Psycho, and I just got this book because it's a classic and it was $2, and it was one of those things where you have to spend $30 to get free shipping, and it's a black hole and you get sucked down into it, and this is one of the books that I got because of that. I have not read it before. I can't imagine it'll be one of my favorite books of all time, because usually these older books are pretty dense, and the only ones that I like to read more than once are Jane Austen's. I really like Jane Austen's, but other than that, for me it's usually tends to be I read it once, I kind of enjoy it, probably never read it again. but it's a good copy and it was only a few bucks. So I haven't gotten around to this yet, but I'm excited to. If you've read it, let me know in the comments what you thought about it and if I should move this to the top of my TBR. The next book is also from Book Outlet, and that's The Plowman. And honestly, this is on my reading list, but I think it's only there because I thought the cover was really pretty. And again, with the white spine thing, I just really like it. I do think the story sounds really intriguing. It's about like a sheriff and a man who is, I don't know if he's like actually a murderer or if he's just accused of murder, but it's about the sheriff and this murderer sitting across from each other, like he's in the jail cell and the deputy's sitting at his desk, and it's about them sitting and talking through the bars all night, I think. I'm not sure if it takes place in one evening or not, but I think that sounds really interesting, and I thought it was really pretty and it was only a few dollars, so I bought it. The next book that I also got on Book Outlet in this same order is The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, and I have read this. I read it before I bought it. I love this book. It's about a little boy who has autism and his dog gets killed, and so he tries to figure out what happened to his dog, and he's very left-minded, very technical in mathematics and stuff. There's actually a play called The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, and I didn't get to see it, which I'm a theater person, and that makes me very sad that I have not seen it. Maybe someday. If you haven't heard of this book, I definitely think you should check it out because it's really, really beautiful. The last book that I picked up in this Book Outlet order, and that is a Margaret Atwood, and it's called The Edible Woman. And looking on Book Outlet, I thought this was a different cover than what it was, and that cover had the white spine. It's a problem. I should not buy books just because they have a white spine. But I did think that this cover was different than what it was, and I do really like Margaret Atwood, but a lot of her books are books that I read once and then I don't revisit because her ideas are really interesting, but they're also pretty dense. So basically this is about a woman who is part of a consumer society, which is our society. We like to consume materials, products, food, whatever. And she finds herself identifying with the products that are being consumed. I am excited to read this. I haven't heard a lot of buzz about this particular Atwood novel. I have read Handmaid's Tale, Hagseed, Oryx and Crake, Alias Grace, great book. The book about the two people who go and live in like a jail. I forget what that one's called, but that one is also really good. But yeah, I also picked up this book. The last book I recently bought, I got from Books A Million. I actually have come to prefer Books A Million to Barnes & Noble because Books A Million tends to have really great clearance sections. The book I got was American Sniper, and I got this for $4. And I did recently read this, and I had a lot of thoughts on it, as you can tell, and I kind of already blabbered on a lot in this video, so I'm not going to go into depth with this, but if you don't know what this book is about, it's about Chris Kyle. It's actually, he wrote this book. He was an American sniper, the sniper with the most kills. He writes this book about his experience as a sniper in Iraq, which is really interesting. There are a lot of things about this book that also made me pretty angry, and I found myself getting really frustrated with him as a person as I was reading this, which I feel like is fair because he wrote it, so he portrayed himself this way. If you want to know my full in-depth thoughts about this book, I do have a blog post on it, and I'll link my blog down below as well so that you can read my full thoughts on this. But yeah, this was a really interesting purchase, and I don't regret it, even though I don't think I'll probably ever read this book again, but I did make a lot of notes, so this might come in handy someday to have hung on to this. So that's my book haul. If you want to see more videos like this, let me know down in the comments and I'd be happy to keep track of any books I'm buying so I can show you. Please like and subscribe so I can keep this going, and thank you so much for watching all the way to the end, and I cannot wait to hear from you in the comments and to make more videos tailored to what you want to see. So thank you so much for watching. Bye!